We are coming up on the 7 o'clock hour, and that, of course, is the time of night when our colleague Shepard Smith's broadcast, the Fox Report, normally begins. And so in just a few moments, I'm going to turn it over to Shepard Smith. We're awaiting here in Washington any further briefings that may come from officials here, Capitol Hill. We're expecting to hear from the leaders here, and then, of course, later on in the evening from the President of the United States. In the meantime, back to you in New York, Shep.
Britt, thanks. It is 7 o'clock in the East, 4 o'clock in the West. I'm Shepard Smith in New York, and this is Fox News' continuing coverage of the terrorism strike against the United States. You are looking live now, coming up at the southern tip of Manhattan, where the smoke continues to billow over what was once one of America's proudest symbols, 210-story towers looming over the day skyline, looking directly over the Statue of Liberty, providing spectacular views of one of America's most spectacular cities, and today reduced to rubble. There is a massive and unprecedented cleanup effort underway on the streets below. 3 buildings have now collapsed there, and in Washington, D.C., part of the Pentagon ripped to shreds as America has come under attack. All of this began this morning about 9 o'clock Eastern Time, when radar traffic controllers realized there was a plane heading in and fast, and suddenly not one but 2 jets had pummeled into the 2 towers of the World Trade Center. First the one on the east side, then the one on the west side. In the moments which followed, chaos on the streets below. People were reported to be coming out of buildings, one after another, trying to give aid to their neighbors as the smoke and flames began to tower out of the World Trade Center. 80 stories up for one of them, a higher distance for the other. And there are literally people hanging out of the windows here as you watch. There is a jet plane inside that tower of the World Trade Center as this man or woman hangs out and wonders what in the world has happened around him or her on an early morning day, a Tuesday morning, just getting to the office to begin the nation's work. The flames continued to tower, and then minutes later, the first of the 2 towers collapsed to ruin beneath. At the time, many of New York's bravest and New York's finest, the fire department, the police department, was on scene giving aid to those who suddenly saw their world collapsing around them, and then the building tumbled down onto their heads, and now a massive scene of destruction beneath as people working with hands and tools scramble to try and find anyone in there who may be alive. The entire New York City Police Department and entire New York City Fire Department brought into work. Every single human being who was part of those 2 operations was called in this morning. Now the United States military has brought in 2 aircraft carriers to station in New York Harbor. One will be used as a hospital. The National Guard and members of the military to come in and assist in this rescue and recovery effort, which clearly even the largest police and fire forces in all of the United States could simply not handle. Many have described this as America now at war, certainly an unprecedented attack. The number for the death toll is unthinkable at this hour, and no one willing to speculate except for one representative who made his way out of the Washington Police headquarters this afternoon, or early this morning actually, and suggested that the estimates were that as many as 10,000 lives may have been lost in lower Manhattan. Our correspondent, Catherine Herridge, has been following developments throughout the day. She's with us from one of the hospitals besieged with patients this day.
This is a Fox 29 special report.
Our continuing coverage now of the attack on America. I'm Jordana Green.
I'm Chris Canangla. We'll keep Fox News video on the left part of your screen as we've been doing all day long. We want to keep you also, as we've been doing all day long, up to speed on the impact of today's terrorist attacks on events here in the Twin Cities. Now, right now, a service is underway for victims of today's attacks at the Basilica of St. Mary's. We'll have a report from there coming up a little bit later on this evening.
And from 8 to 10 tonight, a candlelight vigil to mourn the nation's loss will be held at Gene Keeley Park. That's in Bloomington, between Nicollet and Portland Avenues. We'll have a live report from that memorial on Fox 29 News at 9. Minnesota U.S. Senator Paul Wellstone was in Washington today during the attack. We were able to reach him over the phone. He spoke a little bit about retribution.
It's going to be extremely important for us to get to the bottom of this and to find out who was responsible for this act of murder, and to respond, very strong measures, and then to do everything we can to make sure this never happens again. But this is, I think this is definitely the worst day in my adult life for our country.
Senator Wellstone also said we need to send our thoughts and our prayers to the loved ones of the victims lost in today's attack.
A little earlier, I asked you to send your email comments and questions, and I've got some of those here now. We heard a lot of emails from children who were very concerned as they were in school today, talking about it in school and frightened by what they were seeing on television. My name is Jessica Burke. I am 13. I live in Farmington, Minnesota. I would like to say I am very sorry. The family members of the ones who were on the two planes, I think it is sad that someone could dislike the U.S. so much to do a terrible thing like this. I'm going to pray for everyone who suffered. This is an email from a 13, by the way, that was from Jessica Burke. Kathy Taylor writes, she's 13, she was in math class today. Math teacher said our children and our grandchildren are going to ask where we were on this day this attack happened because it's history. He also said that our world has just changed so dramatically today. Here are a couple of more for you. I am 13 years old. My name is Betsy from Sauk Rapids, Minnesota. Now my friends and I are very scared. We're very scared in school today. All we could think about was war. All we ask is that you tell everyone to pray for everybody in the world, that we will be safe. So will my group of friends. We will pray all night because we don't want to die. That's from a child. A couple of others here. I am enraged by the jubilation of the Palestinian people at this vicious attack, referring to some of the video which Fox Network has been showing, and their glee at the death of so many people. I am frustrated and angered by the criminal ineptitude of the U.S. government's intelligence community. Terrorist organizations across the world need to be shown the consequences of actions. But also this, I am concerned with the language. This is from Eric Martin here of the Twin Cities. I am concerned with the language and the images the media, not only Fox 29, but other stations as well, are using. I do not think it was crucial to show the Palestinians celebrating in the streets. To keep bringing up the possibility of war just heightens the anger of the mass public, anger that may be directed to other U.S. citizens that in appearance look like Middle Easterners. And of course, that is something that we hope does not happen. A couple more quickly as we round out these emails. I think Americans should unite. Put your American flags on your cars, homes, windows. Show those sick, demented cowards that our flag still stands. We are Americans and will prevail. We will get through this and we'll be stronger. And these two items, which I thought were pretty interesting, I know that fuel prices throughout the country are skyrocketing. I was wondering why the fuel prices would be rising so high so fast as a result of these terrorist acts. Are the fuel companies limiting the amounts of fuel? What's the story with that? And in fact, we reported earlier today that the fuel prices are, in fact, going up, and there's some concern as to whether or not there may be a shortage of fuel. There, as we continue to see, this is another picture that is just horrific of the second airplane to hit the Twin Towers. One more email, and that's it. Keep up the good work. With the numbers you provided, I was able to donate a healthy donation of cash and also give blood here in Alexandria. That's from Lana from Alexandria. We have a phone number, too, a couple of phone numbers here that we could use.
For the Red Cross. The 1-800-HELP-NOW. These are easy. We don't even have to put them up on the screen. 1-800-HELP-NOW or 1-800-GIVE-LIFE. Those are for information, and also the Help Now is how you can help. You can get information on where you can donate blood or where you can send checks to. The Red Cross, of course, always needs blood, and certainly in wake of this tragedy, they'll need even more. Right now, they can't ship it out yet because there is no air traffic flying out to the East Coast, but they do need money and blood. So there are the numbers. Feel free to donate a little both. Those emails were so poignant. The one from the 13-year-old saying the world is changed today.
I have a whole stack of emails from children about war. It's one of the concerns that they're having. And at 7:30 tonight, former Senator Rod Grams, who knows a lot about the intelligence community and about foreign affairs, is going to be joining us. And we're going to talk to him about some of these children's concerns as well as some of the adult concerns. What does this mean? Already, as Fox has been reporting and as the major media have been reporting, there have been attacks in Kabul, Afghanistan. We've seen night video on CNN of attacks on targets in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, of course, harboring Osama bin Laden. And the reports from the State Department are that our government is 90% sure that Osama bin Laden is behind this, although that is not 100% confirmed. But if that is the case, then perhaps we're seeing, by the way, pictures of this fire was at the Pentagon after an airplane hit the Pentagon earlier today. And the third of 4 planes that were hijacked, commandeered, and then crashed to the ground.
We don't have any reports yet of certain targets being hit in Afghanistan, but right now we know there are random shots and missiles being fired out there from on our part, on the part of the Americans. We don't know if they know where Osama bin Laden is, but they're targeting Afghanistan because it is a country that does harbor terrorists.
What we do know is that things here in Minnesota are still calm, that people have not panicked, that the situation here is that government offices are still open, although by now it's 9 minutes, almost 7 minutes after 6, so a lot of those buildings are now closed, post offices, etc. The major dales all closed for the day.